A little bit younger than you are. Hello. And another little Erica doing bridesmaid. And Erica, stand up. Now, all of this comes from the Gazette. And I think there was 12 a year from 1927 to 1963, 64. So I've had a lot of late nights. And it's sort of addictive because the more you read it, the more you find. I'll show you some other, these pictures came from the same place. And I know that Louise said to me that pictures of his father's are incredibly rare, and she hadn't seen these, and I was pleased to find them and send them through. Of course, my dad, and that was just a quick selection I did of my dad through his lifetime and his love of sailing. We've been mentioned, the marriage, and I did one here with him holding a glass because I think if he was here, he'd be toasting to all of you, and damn pleased to see you here. And he'd be making a much better speech than me, but I won't do that now. And Uncle Kenneth, with Dad at Eton to start with, and some of those other pictures you've already seen, but I love the one bottom right. Anybody know who this is? I'm not quite sure. Hadn't changed a bit. Wonderful to see you here. He'd have loved that. I'm doing a lot of walking about here. There've been many events here over my lifetime and before. The first one we've got on record is 1907. There are so many other pictures. That's actually my son's wedding, 2016, 99 years after the first one I showed you. And there's this magnetic need to stand outside those windows. I'm looking forward to the pictures this afternoon from the same place. They did actually dress up for the wedding, but it was torrential rain, so that was the inside picture done where you had breakfast.
Colin, can we have a look at the one before, the black and white one for 1 second?
You think I know how to go back?
Oh, forget it. Back arrow. Hey, one more. Yes.
Oh,
Back.
too far.
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, thank you.
I wish we knew all the names, but most of the names are here. Amy Hill, Henry Adolphus, Gavin Turnbull, Uncle Harry. Who the other ones were, we don't know, but it's an amazing family picture, again, taken outside those windows, 1907.
My grandmother with the dog. Thank you.
This is an event we had in 95 with Father here in the family. And again, there's this strange person here who keeps appearing in the photographs. You're so kind of you to come over here and see us and see we're all right after all the entertainment you give us so many years. One of my father's great passions, of course, and when he moved out and various other family changes were made, he bought Winlow, which he was very fond of, and I'll mention more of that in a minute. Just check my notes, what have I missed? The reason the house was sold was because my father moved out and got married. Louis unfortunately died, and so his family weren't in need of accommodation anymore so much, and the number of people living here was just too small for the size of the place. So Granny moved to Swallowfield, and everyone had their own places. But one of the great loves of my father, and really this is now more a talk about my father and his life, was Winlow, which we all remember and love. This is a picture of Alders Wood when it was an old people's home, and top left you see the canteen and kitchen they built on, which was subsequently knocked down, but it shows you the shape of the house as it was when our family lived here. The next thing I was going to cover very quickly was a bit about the brewery, because it is really a binding factor amongst all of us. It existed, well, there was a brewery in Windsor for a time, about 1600, which was very successful, and the Colin Simonds became mayor of Windsor until he upset the king and had to be marched up Windsor High Street on his horse facing the wrong way, which meant thereafter no one was allowed to talk to him. He was on cob for the rest of his life, and that didn't do business too much good. It failed. But we got back in it again. This is the brewery, some brewery pictures from the very early days, 1785, this is 1861, bottom left, and that's Grandpa's office in 1925. It was a very substantial business, and it attracted visitors such as the Prince of Wales visited in 1926. This is the Prince of Wales here, and there's Frederick, same top left, and Henry's also in that picture, top left, showing them around the brewery. Our business was at the top echelons of society and life, and attracted top people. Well, that's one of the reasons it was so successful. The Hop Leaf Gazette, our new passion. That's the front page as it used to be. I just chose 39. And it had a little bit about the family and what they were doing, but most of it was about the people of the brewery and what they were doing and what their lives were and how the football team did on Saturday and the cricket team did the next week. It's a delightful read. Here's some pictures from it. I've concentrated on family ones. Some of the brewery directors, Louis, FAS again, and every now and again names appear. I'm not quite sure who they are. There's a Colin Simonds here, of course we know who they are. There's a lovely picture of FAS having his first ever trip in an aeroplane. He looks absolutely terrified, I would be as well. Looking at the aeroplane anyway. There's a picture of him with my dad. This was one of my favourite pictures. I'll read it. There's no air raid siren in this tiny Berkshire village, 1942. But the inhabitants are warned when enemy planes are arriving by a young boy who rides round on his pony and blows his tooter. Gavin, please blow your tooter, show what it's like. Oh no! And so this is the world of high-tech 1942 England explained in the magazine. Wonderful pictures of things like the first aid group for the brewery and the fire group and of course the board. And I found this article which I thought was just a sign of the world as it was then. Learning that her son Kenneth was seriously ill with typhoid in Gibraltar, Mrs. F.A. Simonds chartered a plane at Woodley and flew to his bedside. He was accompanied by their eldest son, Louis, and they arrived on Monday morning to find that the patient was making good progress. That was a different world we live in now. And well done her for going off. And this is a picture I'll talk more about later, but the text says that Mr. and Mrs. Duncan Simonds were their little son, presented to Mr. Duncan by his wife on his birthday, a happy coincidence. The baby's name is Raymond. He's got a bit bigger since then. That made me laugh to see that one. And we're getting near the end now. But here, I thought I'd end with three pretty girls. And in the middle is Erica again. You seem to be very popular as a bridesmaid, Erica. And then I found this one, which I thought was a wonderful thing to end talking about Dad. There you are, Dad. We're dreaming of you. Thank you.
Hello.
There's one other little story I missed. When Dad's group conquered Tobruk from the Italians in 1943, he was part of the group that conquered it. They didn't have any money because they hadn't been paid. So he telegrammed this house to his dad and said, "Taken to Tobruk, please send £5 for a party." The response came back, £5 on its way, how much for Berlin? Thank you. Well done, thank you very much. Now,
I was going to do a whole lot about people who've come the furthest distances and people who've done this and people who've done that, but we've overstood a little bit. But I do have one little present I would like to make, and this is for the youngest person here who's come almost the furthest distance. And is she still in here, Grace, with your mummy? Grace and mummy? Grace and mummy? This way. Oh, you can't tell where my voice is. Come on, mummy. Come on. Grace. Grace. And I noticed what your eyes did when you saw that box. You said, ooh, that box looks lovely. Would you like it? Would you like to take it home with you to America? Then you shall. And the other little people who made such a big success of making those models this afternoon, when you go back to that room later on, please collect up one of the boxes each to take home with you, because you worked so hard at them this afternoon. They're under the table. Too much chateau puree already. Thank you. Now I have one other speaker here. We're going to start now with our... Did you want me? No. We're going to start now with one of our first 2-minute speeches before we have dinner, before we have our drinks. So we're going to do it very quickly. David, if you would love to, you did put your thumb up when I said, are you on for speaking? Because he only arrived halfway through the speech, so he hasn't had much chance to prepare. We have very extensive family connections, and one of them is to the May family of Berkshire, Millers, and the Simonds and the May family intermingled and married repeatedly backwards and forwards. And there's a very complicated section of the family tree where I tried, I'm not sure if I succeeded, in showing David's family and the link to us. David is a historian and archivist way, way beyond my aspirations, and he's going to give you a couple of minutes on the connection. Thank you.
Thank you. I feel like a little bit of an interloper here today. It's very, very kind of Raymond and his brothers to invite me and my wife and son. I think I'm one of the most distant relatives here. I think, looking at the list, 7th cousin, something rather removed. I am descended from the Simonds family way back in Tudor times, but my most recent connection with you is through the May family, like Raymond said. You may remember that Elizabeth May married the founder of the brewery, William Blackall Simonds, and she brought a huge dowry with her and enabled him to start the brewery, and so I like to think that it was our family that gave you that good start. And they were a landed family from an estate called Hewish, which is just down the road from here. And but the younger sons of the family had to go into business in order to make their way, and they, as Raymond said, they became millers. Elizabeth's father was the miller of Pangbourne, a village he knows rather well. And others, her 2 uncles founded the May family brewery, which was in Basingstoke, just down the road, and in about 1755. And then forward wind 200 years, in 1947, the May brewery was looking for a buyer, and the Simonds family rather generously bought the May brewery. And so from the time when Elizabeth's uncles were helping William Blackall Simonds to set the Simonds brewery up, until that time, the 2 families were good friends all that time, and I hope we will be for a lot longer.
Thank you, David. Okay, you may now rest yourselves, refresh your glasses, and circulate.
I wasn't there, sadly, I missed it.
Ellie, if she's listening, is going to serve us some few things to eat. and we will have circulate for a while. You can look at the stuff that's outside, you can ask questions, and we will sit down for dinner in 35 minutes.
Perfect. So, really awkward. The drone's not working. You get any footage?
I had knee joints.
Yeah, a bit sore after that.
I thought it was amazing. Every time he wanted to, Will had to go out there and crouch.
I had to
Every
crouch
time-
for like an hour and a half, maybe not really, but
Every
yeah.
time Raymond wanted to slide,
Because
down,
I couldn't
bang
use
the
his
door.
hand because he couldn't do that. So I was like this behind the lectern going.
It's really valued.
What's this one?
It's someone's camera. Just turn it off now.